Welcome you in the next episode. This one, as I promised, is about triathlon bike for beginners or entry-level triathlon bikes. And here I'm going to talk also about one important mistake we make when we choose to buy our first bike, which we are going to use during some triathlon races. So, this is not a triathlon bike, this is a racing bike, like a climbing racing bike. This is the aerodynamic racing bike, so there is none of these are triathlon bikes. I'm going to show you those just in a second on my computer, but I need to show you some very important thing. So let's just see how I look on the bike when sitting on the bike. And what you want to have on the triathlon bike, you want to have more aerodynamic position. If you buy the bikes, I'm going to show you in a second, like the Felt or Bia, you're going to have the so-called aero bars. So the special bars with special brakes, special shifters and special position. And on that bike, you have to feel comfortable, aerodynamic, and also you're gonna produce power as efficient as possible. But now, for some of us who are just starting with the triathlon, the entry-level triathlon bike will be okay, but very good idea will be also just a racing bike with the aero bars, so with the aero extension. So I have the aero extension here on the standard road bars. So this is the standard road bars, standard shifters, but the aero extension. And here is the biggest mistake. You can see on the forums some ideas that if you want to buy just a racing bike for triathlon, try to find the most aggressive geometry of the racing bike and then put on the bike the aero extensions, and that's a big mistake in my opinion. Let me tell you why. When you have the aero bars, so you have the triathlon bikes, you're gonna have special bars and many options of the adjustment. On the triathlon bike, you want to support your upper body on your elbows, not on the forearms like I'm doing here, but on the elbows. So you're gonna be sitting like that. That would be the triathlon bike. But if you want to buy a racing bike and put the aero extension, you're gonna be supporting yourself on the forearms, because this is not like 100% triathlon bike and triathlon geometry. And if you buy the racing bike with the aggressive geometry and you put just the aero extension, it's gonna be way too low for you. And also you're gonna have a lot of tension here on the arms because you are supporting yourself on the forearm. This is not a 100% triathlon position. It can still be very good. You will be much faster. This position versus this position is like maybe 7 beats per minute of your heart rate lower in this position. Or maybe you would ride, instead of, let's say, 35 kilometers per hour in this position, which is already in the bottom grip. In this position, you would ride, let's say, 37, 38, which is a huge difference. Why you don't want to have a racing bike, very aggressive bike? Because it will be just too low. You're not going to be able to handle this. So my offer is that if you want to buy a road bike and put the aero extension, try to look for some not really aggressive geometry. And this is a very good example. Let me show you this example. Of course, if you're gonna be racing triathlon as the beginner, it's a good idea to have the aero bike because you have the aero advantages over the climbing bike. But still, this is the road bike, so standard road bars. You can use it for just everyday training. But as you can see, for example, this is my Merida Sculptura. This head tube is pretty long. That means this bike is not super aggressive. That means if we go back to the previous episode, the stack of this bike is not too low. So it's pretty high stack. And the reach is not too far in the front to the front, so it's not too long. That means the position will be pretty comfy. If you have comfy position, then you can ride with your forearms on the aero extension and you will be way better with that. let's say, look at the Ironman and look at all those age group athletes who have the triathlon specific bikes, and you will see after 20-30 kilometers of riding how many of them are no longer using the aero extension because it's just too low for them. So they are just riding upright, as upright as possible, because this is too aggressive. So stay comfy, have not too aggressive geometry on the road bike, and you will be much better and much more happy with your bike and your results during the triathlon. And now let's see some examples of those bikes. I'm going to show you both the less aggressive and more aggressive road bike and 2 triathlon bikes. Alright my friends, here are the 4 ideas for beginner triathlonists, and this is very easy. We have 2 triathlon specific bikes with very good deals in the description. These are my affiliate links, and 2 road bikes. And the first one is the approach of many people on the forums, which will tell you, as a first triathlon bike, buy just a road bike but with the racing aggressive geometry. That's it, Cannondale, Optimo, Sora. This is not my approach, but if you go this path, that would be the bike I recommend. Why? Because Cannondale, in their elite racing bike genre, will have Super 6 Evo, so the carbon super duper very expensive bike, Cat 12 high-end alloy bike, and the Cat Optimo alloy budget bike, all of which will have same geometry. Cool approach. They tell you if you want to have endurance bike, buy just the Synapse. Here you're getting for the little money bike for racing and the racing geometry. If you put the aero extensions here, you're gonna have your back stretched a bit more, and also your power production will be different. You may have some drop on your FTP, for example, here. So this matters here. Maybe if you're very flexy, want to be very aero, that would be the approach. One thing regarding the components, Sora is just enough for the beginner triathletes. You can be winning many races on this bike, but in the triathlons especially, stepping between different gears in the rear matters because the cadence is the key. So maybe having like a bike on the Tiagra with 10 speed, or maybe even the 105 version with the 11 speed would be better. That's if you have the money. The difference is, in terms of the money, isn't really big, so that's something to have in mind. Okay, now this is my bike. Actually, this is the alloy equivalent of my Merida Sculptura you just saw in my studio, and that would be the approach I would take. Why so? When you look at the head tube, you will see that the head tube is larger. And so when you compare the stack and reach, so how long, how high the bike is, you're gonna see that Cat Optimo is really aggressive, the Reacto is less aggressive. What's interesting, the carbon bike I have is even less aggressive than the alloy one right here. So maybe they will change it with the new alloy model, I don't know, that might be the case. But just know, having more aerodynamic bike on the triathlon matters, and having bit higher bike for the aero extension, if this is not the triathlon bike, would be, for most of us, would be better. So that's my opinion. Now you know, and you can buy these bikes, both the Optimo and the Reacto, for little money. The Merida don't operate in the US, but you can buy online these bikes, and I'm going to show you the links as well. And now the triathlon bikes, those have really good reviews. Felt B14 or BIA Ordu M30. It says here $2,000. You're gonna see the deal for way less, and you can buy in the US, no problem. So these bikes will have different geometry than these bikes. These bikes will be a bit more difficult to maneuver, and if you are riding often in the very hilly terrain, some steep climbs and descents, these bikes are not made for that. These are made for just mainly flat roads and sitting in the aero position. The Felt B14 will give you many options of moving this thing here back and forth, up and down. I don't know how wide of the adjustment option you're gonna have on the Orbea. I've been riding this bike and I loved it. It is not as stiff as these road bikes because the tubes here are aero and thin, and you're gonna feel some wobbling in the front. I don't know about Ordo M30, but that's something I've been experiencing. No big issue, but something you will feel. And then Felt and Orbea will have pretty much the same stack and reach. So that's it. Here you have the triathlon specific or time trial specific shifters and the brakes. Here you have the combos, so braking and shifting in one combo. That's also the difference, right? This is how it looks like here. Different thing. This will be just cheaper, and this will be much more just versatile. These are made for triathlon. So if you know you're gonna stick to it, or you maybe already have a road bike and want to have triathlon bike, Felt B14 or Orbea Ordo M30. That's my ideas for you. And that's it, guys. Give me your info about your experiences with the bikes, with the triathlon bikes, in the comments on our forum and Facebook group, and see you in the next episode about should you go to the bike fit with the new bike. Bye bye.